What's up, fight fans? My name is Josh Osborne.
Matt McCarty.
Jared McCarty.
And this is our Fight Night Condit versus Kampmann predictions. All right, let's get right down to it. First fight of the night, we got Tyson Griffin taking on Rafael dos Anjos. Matt, who's going to win and why?
Tyson Griffin. I really wasn't impressed with Raf in his last fight.
Uppercutted?
I just think Tyson can do pretty much anything he wants in this fight. I mean, guys have taken his back, and it doesn't matter. I mean, he threw Sean Shirk off his back like he was a rag doll. I'm going to give it to Tyson knockout just because I think that's what he's going to choose to do, stand up and throw some punches.
Really? Wrestlers are going to go for the knockout?
Knockout.
Huh? All right, Jared, what do you think?
I think he's probably going to get a TKO. But, yeah, he's just not going to let it go to the ground. I think he's going to keep it on his feet, So, yeah, I think he's just going to pound him out.
Pound him out, a little ground and pound action. Yeah, Tyson is a good wrestler for sure. A lot of his fights go to decision, and he has fought jiu-jitsu guys before, so I don't think he's going to see anything new in Rafael. But I think this one's going to drag out, probably go the 3 rounds, end in decision. Next matchup of the night, we got Cole Miller taking on a little guy named Junie Browning. Oh, yeah. Love him or hate him, I don't know. This season, he was kind of the Chris leaving. What, you liked him? Didn't like him?
I didn't like him.
Didn't like him, Matt? What do you think?
Junie was awesome.
Really?
He was hilarious.
He was such a douche on the show that you just wanted to like punch him yourself.
He made it entertaining.
You know what? There you go.
Forget peeing in people's fruit.
Junie
idiots.
All right, let's talk history here. Junie's coming off a win over Dave Kaplan where he looked really sharp.
Oh, yeah.
The show, he just wasn't giving it his all. This time, Extreme Couture got a hold of him, seemed to kind of mold him into a better fighter. Dave Kaplan, not exactly a really good test for Junie. I think this one will be a little bit better. Cole Miller, in my opinion, is definitely more well-rounded. Cole Miller coming off a win over George Gurgel. He was actually losing the fight, but in the 3rd round, he came back off his back. I think he threw up a triangle or an armbar or something and submitted George Gurgel. But I think that scenario might actually happen again in this fight. Junie is definitely the better striker, but Cole is going to have 7-inch reach advantage, and he might get taken down, but once Cole's on his back, he might throw something up, and Junie can get a little careless sometimes. So I don't know. I'm taking Cole Miller submission. What do you think, Matt?
Yeah, good call, good call. It's an even fight, and I think that's what's going to make it a good fight. Standing up, I don't think the 7 inches is really going to matter. I mean, Junie showed great footwork. His combinations were insane. I mean, he was just nailing Kaplan in his last fight. I'm going to give it to Junie, TKO. I think we're really going to start to see his true potential in his next fights.
Nice. So, Jared, what do you think? Junie striking going to be the winning factor here, or Cole Miller do something off his back, maybe submit him?
It could be. I think he probably will win on his feet. His hands looked awesome in his last fight, and Cole Miller hasn't really impressed me all that much. But I think eventually Junie will be on top of Cole on the ground. I'm thinking maybe 2nd round submission for Cole.
Cool, nice. All right, guys, next matchup we got Ryan Darth Bader taking on Carmelo Marrero. Now, a lot of guys probably never even heard of Marrero, but he was actually in the UFC. He hasn't fought since, I believe it was 2006 or 2007. He actually beat Chet Congo in his debut in the UFC, but he had a pair of submission losses to Wilson Gouveia and Gabriel Gonzaga. So he's definitely fought some guys, hasn't always won, but I really think this is a really good test for Bader. A lot of people are saying that he's the future of that division in the UFC, but I hope he's ready to rock, man. I'm going to actually take Bader for the win via decision, but it's definitely a very shaky pick for me. I would not be surprised if this one went the other way. Agree or disagree?
I'm going to agree. I think Bader is going to take a decision. Yeah, it's definitely going to be close. It's really hard to call some of these fights on this card. They're really matching it up that well. I think his wrestling and his strength is just going to come in there. You know, Marrero being a heavyweight, you might think he'd be a stronger guy, but he's cutting down. You know, I'm going to give it to Bader.
Bader? What do you think, Jared? Is Bader going to be able to impress us? Because he's got a lot of, people expecting a lot out of him, so he's going to be able to prove him?
I think he is going to be able to. I think he's going to, use his wrestling, get on top of him. I think he's actually going to do a little bit better than you guys think. I think
really?
He might be able to maybe get a 3rd round TKO, maybe pass guard, and just do some pounding.
All right, in 3, Next matchup, we got Efrain Escudero taking on Jeremy Stephens. Now, we got a wrestler versus a striker. This is just a constant thing that comes up. Striker versus wrestler. Who has the edge? Jared, what do you think?
I think that Jeremy's going to have the edge. I don't think Efrain is a Joe Lozon.
Good,
I don't think
good.
he's as fast as Joe, as crafty as Joe on the ground. So I think Stephens is going to try and keep it standing, and he'll probably go to the ground eventually, but I think he'll be able to get a TKO, probably second or third round.
Nice, okay, because you got Joe Lozon just beat Jeremy Stephens, so he obviously wants to prove a point.
Yeah.
Then you got Escudero, who won Season 8 of Ultimate Fighter by beating a striker, Philippe Nover. So is that going to be kind of the same thing? Is he able to control a striker like he did in that finale?
I think it's going to play out pretty much the same way. I think, Stephens is going to come out there throwing some big shots. He's going to plant his feet. And Escudero, doing what he did against Nover, is going to change levels when Stephens plants his feet like that, get a takedown, control him on the ground, have a really boring fight, but win.
I was going to say, yeah, so you're expecting a boring fight.
Yeah.
I hope it doesn't happen that way. I mean, what you said is definitely a really good point.
Yeah.
It could go down that way. But another scenario, Stephens might want to come out and prove a point quickly because he lost pretty badly to Lozon. He wants to erase that memory from people's minds. So if he gets out there really quick before Escudero can set that pace, he might be able to get those hands flying. So I'm going to give it to Stephens, KO, first round. All right, guys, it is time for the main event of the evening, sponsored by The Fight Site. Check out this website for the latest news and exclusive interviews in the world of MMA and boxing. Go to thefightsite.com. All right, guys, we got Carlos Condit taking on Martin Kampmann, and poor Carlos. I mean, another WEC title holder, stripped of his title, thrown into the UFC. I don't know. I mean, he was a really good welterweight in that division. Yeah. I really don't know what's going to happen in UFC. Welterweight is stacked, as is all the other divisions of UFC. But then you got a guy, Martin Kampmann, who's had some really good success in UFC, but I think he realized in his last fight against Marquardt that middleweight is just a little too big for him. I think he was getting overpowered in a lot of his fights, realized he needed to drop down. This will be his first fight in the welterweight division. So, I don't know. This is a tough call. I mean, you guys are pretty evenly matched. I'm going to throw it over to you, Matt. Maybe you can kind of convince me one way or the other which one of these guys is going to win. What do you think?
First of all, I'm so pumped that both of these guys are in the welterweight division now in the UFC. It's like, okay, we have John Fitch and Thiago Alves. I mean, if those guys go up against St. Pierre, I mean, who else do you really got in that, title shot area? I'm giving this one to Condit. I mean, he was on such a huge run in the WEC. This is Kampmann's first fight down at welterweight. I think Condit's just going to be able to go in there and do work. I think he's going to take him down, submit him.
Really? Simple as that?
Simple as that.
All right. Jared, what do you think with this drop down to welterweight? He's obviously going to have to cut weight now. Is that going to be a factor in this fight for him?
I don't know. He was always kind of a smaller middleweight, but it could factor in. I'm not really sure, but I think the strength is going to be a big part in this fight. But I do agree with Matt. I think Condit is going to win. I don't think he's going to submit him, but yeah, I think he's going to use probably leg kicks and stuff because Kampmann uses more hands.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say Condit, leg kicks, mixes it up good. I think he's going to come out with maybe TKO or probably decision.
Decision? Going decision? Whew, you know what? I agree with you there. Definitely decision. This one is hard because I really see these guys being evenly matched. I definitely know it's going decision. Who we're going to take, I don't know. That's why I'm consulting the coin of doom. Jardine and Vera, this baby worked for me. So going decision for sure. Okay. Who's it going to be? We'll go heads, Condit, and tails for Kampmann. Agreed?
Got it.
Ah, dang it. I was kind of hoping it wouldn't go there. Kampmann decision. Well, that wraps it up for another Fight Night. Thank you guys very much for watching. We really appreciate it. Please, as always, subscribe to the show if you like it, and we want to hear feedback from you. So even while you're watching the video, jot down some comments and let us know what you think. But guys, I am Josh Osborne.
Matt McCarty.
Jared McCarty.
And we will catch you on the flip side.